Dude, I think Ufotable literally just like five-headed us so hard. You know, like, oh, here's the movie, idiots. Yeah, you're gonna love this movie, idiots. And you're like, yes, I will enjoy this movie. And then you're like, and then they're like, yeah, the first 7 episodes, by the way, it's gonna be the same thing again. Yeah, you're gonna like that. And you're like, no, I don't want to like that. Well, here's the prequel episode, and we watch it. We're like, oh, you're right. It's so good. You're right. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 29 of the Nii-San Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Josh Xell Kim. And this time, though, we have a special guest. Instead of Crim, the Asian Avenger, we have Crim, the house husband. How's it going, Crim?
It goes.
Ah, yes, a man of few words, unlike the Asian Avenger. You know, the thing is, we've never seen them in the same room. This is definitely a completely different person. I think the Asian Avenger has the scar on the other eye, if I remember correctly.
This is also a very real scar, so please don't.
Very real.
Yeah. It came from putting all of my heart and soul into cooking and being a great husband. So
I see. Yeah. I mean, we can tell from your apron that has seen a lot of use. Clearly,
yes. Don't question how I have this, because I actually don't know how I have this. Consider I'm a newly. I mean, I do know how I have this because I'm a newly found house husband. Clearly, so yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For people who are just listening to the podcast on Spotify or whatever, Crim has shown up in a house husband cosplay, which is looking mighty fresh, dude. I look like Ron Weasley had an Asian adopted kid, and who also some reason has orange hair. But Crim looks like a certified badass house husband. So
that also found out about emo music.
Well, hey, if there's any ladies who are looking for a emo house husband
with a real scar that is
with a real
kind of
scar,
crooked, but yeah, great.
He's out here. So anyways, yeah, today's topic is we're going to build off of what we talked about last week, which was the new anime that's coming out this week. And I guess first off, though, we will start with some news, because I think it has some relationship to that too. Quick thing. Oozora Subaru, who is a VTuber, is getting a voice role in Lupin the Third. This is kind of cool too, because I think obviously for VTubers, voice acting is a very big part of what they do, and I see why not. Like an animation putting in a VTuber voice act, that makes total sense to me. Also, I love Subaru's dancing duck. I hope we can get that on screen, because I use this for my own stream. I need to hire an animator to do my own version of it, because I just love the duck dance so much. But anyways, so that's that.
That feels like it was meant to happen, right? I mean, the fact that VTubing, voicing an anime character, I'm surprised it actually took this long to have something happen, right? So, yeah. I mean, it might have happened before, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's just cool to see, VTubers, they're thriving in 2021. So, that's cool to see. JoJo's Part 6, which is oh my god, what is the actual part called? But anyways, that's coming to Netflix on November 1st, so I think that's kind of an exciting thing for JoJo fans. We'll see what is going. I think the release is going to be kind of weird though, where it's 4 episodes at a time, rather than all at once or weekly. So, but we'll see. The next thing I want to talk about, which impacts this season, I know, Crim, you are, as a house husband here, you were really disappointed about this, but World Ends Harem delayed to January of 2022.
Can we actually just... My heart is heavy right now. For all my fellow cultured people, trash enthusiasts, can we just have a moment of silence? We were ready. I was ready to watch this and be enlightened by all that is this show. And then we got slammed with the delay. Josh, I know that hit you too. So let's just hang our heads for a second here. Thank you.
All right, and then we're done. Okay, the thing that's interesting to me about this is that they delayed basically on the date that it was supposed to come out. And I'm so curious why that happened. And to me, that doesn't say that there was a production error. I feel like there's something about someone, the head honcho was like, "Oh, we have what coming out? World's End Harem. Let me turn this on really quick." Saw what it was about and was like, "Oh hell no, nah, we ain't doing this." And then
I bet
just
you
like
it's a
shut it all
censorship.
down.
It's got to be censorship, right? New clothes are going to be added somewhere.
I'm so curious, and I wonder what happens there because it feels like a distribution thing, and I wonder with shows like. Sure, World Ends Harem, but also like Ishizoku Reviewers and some of these other sort of like raunchier shows. I wonder what the process is like because I know for a fact with the Ishizoku Reviewers, they were kind of. I think distributors were blindsided by what Ishizoku Reviewers was actually about. And so I wonder if there's going to be more scrutiny over like what the actual content is going to be like that's being displayed. Because there seems to be some kind of disconnect here. But anyways, that's what I think.
I kind of had the same feeling too, right? Like there was just too much plot, maybe too much culture and too much to enjoy. So they had to probably dial it down a bit, right? I think that has to be it. Because what else would there be?
I don't know. Because I think if there were production issues, they probably would have known earlier than that, right?
Right.
Because
could it be contracts? Like all of a sudden, maybe one other streaming site or something wants to like stream it too, right? Or allow you to stream it on their platform. Because that's the only thing. Oh, wait, we're going to wait because maybe we're going to re-roll the premiere on not only Crunchyroll, because I think that's where it's supposed to originally air, but maybe
also
like
on Hentai Haven, right?
I don't know what that is, dude. So stop being weird. And so like,
oh yeah, World's End Harem is not too much, but Hentai Harem, that's where we call the line.
What are you talking about, dude?
Okay.
What is the rule about Fight Club, dude? What is the rule about?
We talk about it. Come on, man. That's the point.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
If Fight Club had a podcast, they'd probably be talking about it. I don't know.
Anyway. I feel like a Fight Club podcast would be an oxymoron, but yeah, okay.
But anyways, yeah, totally mysterious why it got delayed. But anyways, we'll last piece of news that I've got put together here is that Wit Studio apparently reported a loss of basically $4.5 million for the last fiscal year. And I guess I'm a little shocked. See, one thing is like, I don't know how big the anime industry is, but I assume that a loss of $4.5 million, that sounds like a lot of dollars, right?
Yeah, that does check.
But like at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, I'm sure big companies lose millions of dollars all the time and it's not a thing. But I think what's interesting is I think Wit Studio in particular have done more work in the original anime space. And I think that's important to talk about here because it seems like Wit Studio took a big risk because they were doing shows like Attack on Titan. They were doing, I'm trying to think of some of the other shows that they've done recently, but like, as of like the last 2 years, they've done, shows like Vivi, which is obviously awesome, but I don't know how much money they've actually made from that. I heard Great Pretender made quite a bit of money for them.
I mean, Netflix.
Sorry, go ahead.
Netflix. I mean, Vivi, like we still don't hear much buzz, right? Like about now, and it was a stellar anime from that season. It was probably one of the top, right? If not the top for me. And so like this is concerning. This is concerning because if they're in the hole and they're the one out there kind of spearheading, taking a shot on all these originals, like, how much, like this is why we have the 9,000th Isekai, right? Because companies are scared to take that risk. And if Wit Studio is missing out here or losing out on a lot of money, they may now just start producing the 10,000th Isekai and say, screw it. We can't take any more chances. And that is scary when it comes to new original anime.
Yeah. I think in particular, like Wit Studio is a studio that in my brain, I'm like, Wit Studio means quality, right? And so it would be really sad to see if they like crumble under the weight of their own originals, even though that some of their originals are good, right? Like the fact that Vivi is good. So I think this is one of those things that like maybe by next year, 2 years from now, we'll see if they change their tune about originals. And I'm looking forward to, like Osama Ranking, which comes out sometime this season. I'm kind of curious how that's going to do and how good it is. And hopefully there's a relationship between putting out good original anime and big profits for Wit Studio. Because, like, in the end, I hope they make big profits off this stuff.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's all I got for news. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's let's hope that after this year or by next year's earnings reporting that they are in a better position, right? Because I really hope they come through with this, because I am worried for the sake of like what is original anime being put out. So,
for sure.
And then I guess the last few tidbits of news is like, well, we had talked about, we've talked about a wide range of things, so I think we're going to bring in some more stuff here on the channel. And some cool news that I feel like has been really prominent in my life that I'd like to talk about is Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City's trailer came out, and it looks cheesy and campy as hell, and I love it. Because no joke, this is it looked like if like when something's so true to the source material, it's almost like that's not good, right? Like that maybe we could have taken some of our liberties. We've talked about that a few times on this podcast, and they actually they have tons of scenes that are iconic from the video games ported directly to the big screen. But the thing here is the costume changes didn't happen. They didn't try to make it look more real world. They just literally copy pasted, right? Like they just Control C, Control V onto the screen. That's it. But it looks like the perfect cheesy, campy stuff I'm about. And if it's a horror genre, I'm here for it. I know there's a lot of people disgruntled, but that's because those are the people that were already going to be mad about it. Like, no matter what they put out, it was never going to be to their standard. Because there are tons of, it's like Cowboy Bebop, right? We have tons of people who are already crapping on Cowboy Bebop, but those people were never going to be pleased with what Cowboy Bebop came out with. It could win Oscars, and it could be perfect, and it would still be trash. So, and I think that's the same audience that would be like here with Resident Evil, right? Like, it's faithful to the source material. It's campy. What more do you want from a Resident Evil movie? And so like that's a bit of news. So if you haven't seen it, go watch the trailer and let me know how you feel about the camp. And then lastly, as you know, Asian Avenger, turns out he likes comic books and Marvel movies. They finally announced who they've casted for Adam Warlock. And, and for those that have been following the Avengers trilogy and know anything about the comic books, you know who Adam Warlock is. He's appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it's going to be played by Will Poulter. So this is going to be extremely cool. If you don't know who Will Poulter is, he's from Midsommar, Revenant, and like Black Mirror. So this is big news for all you comic book nerds out there and all you Marvelites out there. This is going to be sick. Adam Warlock and all of the cosmic Marvel is coming to the big screen. But
awesome.
That's not all we're here to talk about today. So let's get to the main topic today, the meat.
Yes. And the freshly prepared course by our house husband, Crim here.
Yes. Sorry, I need to say it a few decibels lower. The meat of the podcast.
We don't have like an order, so I guess we'll just fire off things that we've watched, and we'll go through sort of our first impressions.
Let's go through the My Anime List order, right?
Sure, let's get it.
Let's do it. All right. So I'll you know what? As a house husband, I don't mind initiating things here. So let's talk about one of the shows that, is on Netflix right now. We've had a lot of concerns about whether an anime coming out on Netflix is, detrimental to itself and whatnot, but it's Blue Period. Mm-hmm. And this one so far, I watched the first episode. I think this is setting everybody up for some really feel good moments, and also the feel good moments are going to be completely overshadowed by the feel bad moments. So this looks like it's off to a solid start. It really, once again, the premise is, this high school student wants to get into art school, but he can't afford it, right? And his family can't afford it. So where this is going. He's probably going to he's going to work his way to getting in, but it seems like it's not going to be an easy ride so far. But the animation's cool, and I really like when he gets in the zone, if you would. like when he's in his art mode and he's kind of just like painting and doing all his artwork. I like the way they made that look. So they did a good job with that, and I'm a fan of the show so far. Solid opening episode. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. But this is one of those ones that if you're looking for somebody to get punched through a building, probably not happening. It's going to be very slow, and it's very like it's slow moving. All character development, lots of dialogue between characters. And I'm kind of here for it. I like it and what it's where it's starting off. So
the way you described the early things of Blue Period, like I was imagining like he's just painting in a bar, and then the bartender's like, "You're pretty good, kid."
Hey, kid, you got some real talent. You could take that to the big city.
I'll sponsor you.
Hey, I got
it. So anyway, somehow that's what I was imagining.
The next art exhibit, I got you. I'll pay for your booth, kid. You're looking good. You're doing good.
I didn't know it was on Netflix though. Actually.
Yeah.
So
it's only on Netflix right now. I don't know if that's coming out anywhere else. So, but I think it's going to be primarily on Netflix. I think it, and it's there. So Netflix is doing the weekly release with this. By the way.
Ooh.
So for those that are used to like the classic just Netflix, diarrhea mess of just like dropping every episode all at once all over the place, just spilling everywhere. Like this is going back to like the more weekly approach. So then I think this is to allow them to try the method to see if like this helps with building hype.
Yeah.
Right. And then, letting people actually kind of digest it before, because, like other shows, somebody will be on episode 6 while somebody's starting episode 1. Right. So this will make it so everybody is on the same page week by week. And we're going to see. So far, I mean, I do this already, so I don't mind. And I didn't mind the method before, but that's because, we do this. So like I have no issues with just sitting down and just binging everything all at once. So I'm a binger, but I'm also okay with weekly episodes. And this is solid. This is super solid so far. So pick this up if you haven't watched. Give it a shot. Me explaining it won't, like even telling you plot points won't fully do it justice to show you like some of the animation scenes. And once again, really watch when he goes into his art mode.
Gotcha. Another Netflix anime that hasn't come out yet, but I'm really excited about is Komi-san. So we will talk about that as it comes out later in the future. I think it comes out starting
21st of this month, I believe. So
I
a few weeks out.
After that, we have Platinum End, which I've watched the first episode for. And I was planning on being like, preparing for this to not be very good. And I watched episode 1 and I was pretty surprised. I mean, I thought it was not terrible by any means at all.
It's not terrible.
The thing is that these type of shows, I feel like so frequently I watch the first episode and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I remember there was like a mobile game one where it's like they get transported to a death game by, this app that's on your phone.
Talking about Darwin's game?
Yeah, Darwin's game. There's other types of like killing game type things that happen, and this seems like another show in that vein. But I was surprised. If anything, Platinum End just strictly reminds me of Death Note, which makes sense because it's made by the same people,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or I don't know if it's a successor, but
it's done by the same dude. I know that. I think that's the hype. I think that's why there's hype on it. It's done by the dude that did Death Note. But if you ignore that, you take that away, the Death Note, like, what did you think of it?
Again, it was, I will say the whole depressed kid thing, whatever. I mean, like, that setup is done a billion times, but I thought the whole arrow thing that they discussed was kind of interesting. I thought it was just gruesome in a way that, like, I guess is pretty natural for killing game stuff. Yeah, I mean, when his aunt, it was gross.
That was dark. There was a lot that happened there. In 10 minutes, it got really dark. Well, it was already dark, but got darker.
So I guess after watching episode 1, I'm pretty optimistic about the show. But that said, these type of things they start you off really strong because, you know, the killing game setup is interesting. And then, you know, just I think gruesomeness and just more sort of dark themes just kind of naturally draw people in anyways. But we'll see if the story actually ends up being pretty good. And I've heard from a couple of people that they've liked the manga. So hopefully going to be good. But I'm still like lukewarm overall on the show.
As a house husband, I'm used to dark. So... and maybe it's because I'm wearing sunglasses indoors. But the thing here is...
I was going to say, I don't know what darkness has to do with being a house husband.
Don't worry about it. But let's not question the logistics. I watched Platinum Men, and I felt like the Arrow just felt like another Death Note.
Yeah?
Right? And I like the aunt scene, like, cool. That I mean, like, not cool what happened, but, like, gruesome, right? Dark, yes. But it just seems... boring. Like, it's so medium. I thought this show, like, it didn't look great to begin with, and it's kind of just exactly what I thought it would be, except for that the angel just makes me think of Paimon from Genshin, so I'm just annoyed by her all the time. So, like, and, like, I mean, if you're like, look, I get it, Xell. Like, I know you needed some kind of some ecchi since, you know, your favorite harem isn't happening this season. So, you know, you get some angel booty here. But other than that, I didn't think the show was that fan servicey. It has its moments, right? Like, it's all around the angel, right? But the thing here is, like, it's not super fan servicey, but I don't know. I just think this wasn't anything special. As I look, the topics that are being displayed here are darker, and I think this is so far a solid middle tier show. Like, it's C plus, and that's like being generous. We're gonna see where it goes. It could be better. It could be a lot better, and that's gonna just be what I'm gonna be sitting around and waiting to see. I'm gonna watch it week by week, but right now it's just looking very meh, and I cannot stop thinking of Paimon every time that angel talks at all.
I don't play Genshin, so Pam, is that like the Navi of the game, I assume?
Yeah, the Navi, she's really, but like Navi, but annoying. I thought Navi was fine. Maybe that I remember of Navi.
A lot of people see Navi as annoying, but
maybe I remember Navi in a brighter light. but the thing here is, hey, listen. But yeah, like the angel is just Paimon, the Navi. So however you feel about those characters, you're going to feel the same way here. Although I like that she just casually whispers sweet, like, you know, chaotic things into your ears. So, like, that is fine. It's like, yeah, like, you know, yeah.
Just make them suicide. Just steal and loot and pillage. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Let's just kill people. Like, it's like, okay. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you're making sense. We'll see where it goes. But you know what is really good?
Oh yeah, this next show is like at the top for me of like shows that I'm most excited about this season, especially having watched episode 1. Let's talking about Takt Op Destiny.
I don't know what the title means, but
I assume op is short for opus, so
not
Takt
operator.
Is one of the character. Yeah, not operator. Takt is the character's name, and Destiny, so like Opus Destiny. I don't know. I literally have no idea what.
Okay, I like it.
What the title? It's like Vivi, where it's like Fluorite Eyes song. Like, I have no idea what
the
that
translation means. Probably is a little spotty, right? Like, we'll go with that. Maybe.
I don't even think it's like translation. I don't think it's translation. I just think they just chose words that they thought sounded cool.
So it's not tactical operator. Got it. Okay.
Not tactical operator Destiny. No, not quite.
Dude. But the show, right?
The show is wild, man. I love it.
I didn't really understand what was happening at first when I watched the first episode like 2 times, right? Because it was like, whoa, I'm getting hit by multiple angles here. And I love everything about it. At first, I was like this confused, like, I don't know what's going on entirely, but I like it. And then it starts clicking what's going on here, and I'm digging it. It's like extremes. Like, this is a very wild show. And the idea of like how they put music and combine it all together and use it as a weapon, I love that, dude. And I love the animation, the transformation scene of is it Angel? I don't know, the music light or whatever the little
music art, yeah.
Music art. The girl in the red, she becomes the red dress girl, and then she, like, you know, I love the characters so far. And I love this world. I'm very curious about, you know, like So for those that are listening right now or watching, music cannot be played in certain areas because it'll attract D2 and in before D2 nuts or something like that, right? Like it's not a D's nuts joke. This is D2, and that's what they're calling these creatures. Look, I don't. It doesn't need to be a good setup. It's just in before it happens. And so I'm curious what this world is. This is really interesting, and I like that. Like music in this world, like pianos are like, whoa, don't touch that. Don't play anything. It's a little bit like think of a quiet place, but you can talk and stuff. You just can't play music.
Yeah. I really loved narratively what they did with the show because, like, at the very start, you don't even know who these characters are. It's like they tell it through a story of like a kid's book, and like kids in this era, like they've never heard music before, but like their parents have because they remember the times that there were music, and so it was just kind of cool to see the world building there about like how people coped without music and how people miss it. And there's not a lot of people who can even play music. And then in comes Takt and his music art, and they see a piano and they just brazenly play it in the middle of town, which doesn't end well for the town, honestly. Which the town gets blown up.
That's Seattle, right? That's Seattle.
Oh, is it? I've never been to Seattle. So.
Oh, okay. So like this I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I thought that was Pike's Place. That looks like Fisher Market, Pike's Place. That's where it looks like it starts at. So, and then this would then make sense of where they're going because they're traveling on the road, and I think they're getting, I don't know, maybe it's like the 5 or something like that. So they're moving east. So
yeah, they're trying to get to New York.
Exactly. So you know what? Then that just confirms that that's definitely moving east. but yeah, so because they're not driving to New York from Japan, I don't think. Yeah, so this is cool. This is sorry to disrupt it. I thought that was beautiful. The animation's gorgeous, and they animated it and like drew everything so well. I just knew instantly that's Pike's Place.
Yeah. I have to say I love the characters a lot too. They're just really bright and colorful, and they have a really good dynamic because Takt is basically the sort of like, he is just got the biggest boner for music, essentially. That's all he wants to do. And he's got kind of this like laid back, carefree attitude about it. And he isn't someone who thinks that much about the consequences, but he's also partnered up with this music art. I don't know her name. I guess it's Unmei looking at the synopsis, but she also doesn't care. She also does not care about consequences. And she's just sort of like very flat faced. She doesn't really care. She's not very emotive, and she just sees an objective and she must go ahead and do it. And so together those two create chaos, and then they're partnered up with this third person, I guess Takt's aunt or whatever. I don't know, cousin. I don't know what they're.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
She's like the responsible one.
She's like trying to reel them in and be like, guys, we need to get to New York in one piece. Like, please just stop doing it. And they're just off getting into hijinks and stuff. And I think that's pretty fun, their whole dynamic. And it's set in America, which is also cool. Yeah. My only gripe in this show is that they use classical music that I think is like really trite and like overused.
Has to be recognizable though, right? It makes sense.
It doesn't have to be.
I mean, it
doesn't
have
to be recognizable. I think whenever music shows play Mozart or Beethoven, I just go, especially like one of their more like popular pieces. Like, yeah, it's like hearing Einklein Nacht music in any sort of like royal ball setting where you're like dun 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 da 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 da. You're like, oh, da da.
For those that aren't music nerds and whatnot, this is like hearing top 40, the same popular song that everybody knows, and
it's like when there's a gaming ad and they put friggin' Imagine Dragons, and you're just like,
again?
God damn, again? Like, how is this possible? That you
I don't want to be radioactive again.
It's like, how many games can radioactive be played on? No, it's one of those things. It's super nitpicky, but for a show that's about music, it just, I think that's one of those things that like, I would have elevated it to a next level. It's one of the things that I really appreciated about Your Lie in April is that like instead of choosing any famous violin concerto that maybe everyone has heard of, it's like, oh, they chose Saint-Saëns intro and Capriccioso, Rondo and Capriccioso. Like that's like oh, okay, that's like a deeper cut into classical music, and I'm like, yes, I'm all about it. So that's the only thing. Maybe they had to just reel people in and Moonlight Sonata it up for episode 1, and maybe we'll get some more interesting tunes later on. I'm really curious, but that's a super small nitpick. I'm just a classical music nerd, so that's just where I'm coming from.
I don't
Show's a 10 out of 10 so far.
I don't listen to enough classical to be picky. The only thing I'm wondering is like, yo, tell me about that dude's missing arm. That's it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. He's like, his arm goes missing whenever he conducts with the music art. I don't understand. But yeah, animation. I guess this episode 1 was animated by Madhouse, and the next episode is going to be animated by Mappa. So
I don't know how I can handle
this.
It's so gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. I wonder if changing like hands from studio to studio will change like how characters look slightly or something like that. But I'm just really excited.
This, like, side note, this could be the future of anime, though. For studios that don't want to lose too much money on originals, maybe soon you'll see studios going halvesies, right? Hey, split the bill. Yeah. We'll make it work.
I mean, Darling in the Franxx was that.
Darling, yeah. And look, I liked the animation of Darling in Franxx, and I think this, whatever has to happen so we don't lose out on originals, I hope, if that's what needs to happen, then I hope that's what happens. But, yeah. But what about the next one? What do you think?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you take this one, because I know you've been dying to talk about this show.
Oh, man. Okay. So there's definitely some, the next show is Mieruko-Chan. The main character's name is not Mieruko, it's Miko, but she sees ghosts. And there's 2 episodes out at the time of filming. I've watched them both. I've got the 3 light novels. I'm waiting for issue 4. And I am in love with this show, but the one thing that they've kind of done differently, I think, than the light novel is that they've definitely focused a lot more on the ecchi side of things. Like, there's definitely some like booty shots with like underwear, panties, kind of like lining, right? And like there's definitely some ecchi here. But for people of culture out there, this is good. This is great for you. And on top,
not hentai.
But it's not.
Hensai's too,
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Why do you keep bringing that up? What is that? Okay. Anyways, before we talk making up words here, I thought this show was great. It's done its job so far. It's captured the classic kind of. I mentioned it before from watching the trailer and reading the manga. They've kind of captured the spirit of how it's like the classic old horror vibe movie, right? Like, fan servicey, but also has the scares. The creatures, the ghosts, the spirits are creepy, dude. They are creepy looking.
In more ways than one sometimes. Yeah. We'll get there.
You'll get there. You'll understand. You could say it gets handsy, right? But the thing here is, if you also like look at that and you look at the tonal shifts between the show, this is what slice of horror means. And I get it. I love it. I love the most recent episode because you finally get to see Cat Dude. And I love him. And I love the show and how it bounces around. So far, if you're looking for something supernatural, yeah, it's got fan service. Oh, it's got fan service. But I like this show. And as you know, as someone who's watched, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, I've watched fan service. So.
But not hentai.
What is that? Okay, whatever. What did you think of it?
So one thing, just to put the period on that statement too, is that I and maybe you can tell me too, because you said you've read the manga a bit, is I heard that the etchiness dies down a little bit from here. It like even in the manga there was a bit of etchiness in the early stuff, but apparently it ggets less so. So yeah. I guess from my side, right? I watched episode 1 and I thought episode 1 was okay. Like it told you the story. I think they set up the horror like tropes really well. But I thought episode 2 was Mieruko-Chan really starts to show you why I think this could be a special show. And specifically, I love the way that they talk about horror tropes while doing them. It's very kind of meta about horror itself, which I really love that. And then not only that, boom, at the end of the episode 2, I mean, that is a hard-hitting, heart-filled moment there with Cat Dude. And I like immediately teared up. I was like, oh, what?
What a twist!
I wasn't expecting, like, dude, you've been showing me ass shots this entire time. I was not prepared to feel. And if I'm going to be completely honest, at like 1.5 episodes in, I thought that the show was kind of feeling a little overrated, I guess, because I was like, okay, yeah, she sees a ghost and tries not to react to it in different scenarios. And I was like, that gag can't last that long. But then Cat Dude appears, and there's like the whole like tension between the way Cat Dude looks, but then there's this nice looking guy, but he's got like dead cat spirits, like angry dead cat spirits all around him. And you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on there. And like they were able to use the spirit medium in a different light to showcase a different narrative, and I love that so much. And I was like, okay, now again, I'm on board. They were able to use her ability to see ghosts in like such a different way here, and I loved it. So after seeing episode 2, I was like super sold, and I think this show could end up being super great as well
for science
alongside Takt Op Destiny
and for horror reasons. like legitimately though, tell me this much. Did you I think the one thing that I have been asking for is a horror comedy. Mm-hmm. And this feels like the horror comedy that I've been asking. Right? Like it's got the dumb humor. It's got the, the crude humor, but it's got the horror elements to it. Did you see did you pick up on that, and did you like that? Did you like the tonal shifts? Because that's the biggest thing that will probably like irritate people. The bouncing between, well, is it serious? Is it scary? Or is it a comedy? Or is it now randomly fan servicey? Like there is that juggling act.
I think mostly the show is comedy, because like after the setup, which is, oh, she needs to try to not react to ghosts, so they leave her alone. Like a lot of the humor so far has just been like, yes, there's something very spooky and going on, but it's mostly her trying to act normal around it, which is like where the comedies kind of ensues. Mm-hmm. And so like for me, there's not that much tonal shift. If anything, the wildest tonal shift for me was going from gropey ghost guy to, oh my God, I'm feeling so many things for this cat dude that like I'm crying. Like that was the biggest emotional shift for me. If anything, like I'm kind of curious how, again, kind of like some of these other shows that have like a very central like setup, I guess, kind of like One Punch Man. Mm-hmm. It's like now I'm kind of like, how do they continue to make this feel fresh and not feel like the same thing over and over again? And I think One Punch Man does that really well, and I kind of want to see how Mieruko-Chan does it. And I also want to see if they do delve into like more of the horror side things, like how hard are they going to hit those notes? Because like I really liked episode 1 for that, because I thought episode 1 was very, very much that classic horror feel. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see more things along that vein too. So I don't know. I'm for the ride. I love it. Maybe a couple less ass shots would be okay. I don't know if the budget allows that. But
look, I get it. The ecchi can be off-putting, but it's worth the ride, and I can't wait till you see more of the characters that come out of this. So
yeah,
but yeah, what about, so like that's definitely worth a watch. I love it. Josh seems to be on board with it too. So that's a strong recommend along with Takt Op. And but the next one after this, just gonna quickly go over this. I said I wasn't gonna watch it, but I lied. I'm wrong. 86 Part 2. I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's more of what I got from last season.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I must be missing something. My brain must be as smooth as a marble, because I am missing why this is popular.
Yeah, the thing I will give for this show is that it is beautiful. It is. Just like the animation's great and the soundtrack is phenomenal. Sure, but I don't know. I'm waiting for a story to like make me feel anything. And I just 86 just doesn't do it. Like it, in this mortal coil that we live in, and I'm just binging anime to maybe finally feel something in my life. Like 86 does nothing for me.
If there's anything that like story-wise and like the point that it's trying to get across, it should feel relatable to like, where we are as society and whatnot, right? But like at the same time, it just feels like it lightly scratches at the surface of the deeper topics that it wants to ask you. And it doesn't do enough delving. And then the characters, like, the main character is the best character we have, and even then, right? Like, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. Like, at least give it, you know what? I would love if this were actually just about the 86. Like 86, the Toyota Triano from Initial D that, like.
What?
Yeah, I would, if this were about like, you know what, give me season 2 and just be like, and surprise, it's Initial D volume 6 and we drifting. Like, okay, I'll take that. But just like.
So, yeah, I think like, the theme, at least so I haven't watched the first episode because I'm not watching part 2, but like from first season, right? The whole idea that she is, like if you were to compare this to Squid Game, right? Where Squid Game, you have these participants who are they're basically forced into the game from various circumstances.
Right.
And it's a death game. They are there until they die, essentially, until maybe somehow you get out and you get the money or whatever. Technically, 86 is kind of similar to that, where it's like you have all these people who are locked into the military until they die, essentially, right? And they're forced to fight a war that they cannot win. And I think like the difference between like that hopelessness that the participants have, it's just not really like portrayed in a way that like makes me feel. And that's like the thing that I think Squid Game did amazingly is like each time that they lose people, it's like it's this gut-wrenching moment where you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad for them. And they really bring out like the humanity part of like what it means to be a human and value each other as like people. And like 86, I just don't get that sort of vibe from it at all. And like people die and horrible things happen, but like I don't feel that connection to those characters. And so like I don't know. I was waiting in season 1 to feel that way, but I never,
especially with
really
the finale, right? Like so he finds his brother, right? And and then it's like, but even that should have been a big moment, but it didn't. It fell flat. It fell flat. It's just like, oh, okay. I don't know what it is. Maybe they should have spent more time like giving every character a little. I mean, I don't know how like how much time that would take and like budget wise, but in a perfect world, they would develop each character, right?
Yeah.
You would develop it, give them. It doesn't need to be a ton of screen time, just important scenes. Like every character just needs to be at a part of an important scene, so when their loss, inevitably happens, you feel that, right?
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I mean, season 2, I'm still not sold. I'm probably gonna drop this if it doesn't get better in 3 episodes, and then when we do the season review, I'll probably like, okay, I lied. I'm gonna keep watching it because I think it'll eventually get better, and then lie to myself. But whatever. For right now, I think I'm gonna drop it if it just isn't getting better because it's just more of what we already had.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of more than what we already had, we have this next Isekai, Greatest Assassin. I didn't watch this, but that's it. I heard good things about episode 1. I don't know. What was your thought? Because I know you watched this.
You should listen to the intro song. I think you would actually like the intro. Banger? Yeah, it's a banger. As I think was thinking, I think the intro deserved a better anime.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I would put this. It's for such a banger of an intro, it is a very bland and it's kind of like, it's like, hey, check marks, hit these boxes. Cool. I don't know, ship it. So it's pretty, it looks good, but we have that, right? We have that currently. So, I mean, World's End Harem, except that's good and pretty. So, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so like just to pretty much put it that way, I don't like The Greatest Assassin. I do like the intro song. I think the outro song is kind of whack. But yeah, it's, I'm sorry, it's just not good. It's just not worth.
So the setup is just kind of typical isekai, right?
Yeah, it's just, it hits every isekai trope is there. if you've seen one isekai, if you've seen any of them, you've seen the show at all.
Is there any hope for this show? From what you've seen of episode 1? Like, are there any of the characters good? Is the animation good? Like,
the animation's good, and this is what I mean. Like, okay, if I wanted more, like, the main character would have to be a lot more interesting. Because right now, he's just... There was a show from a few seasons ago that was actually about assassins.
Assassin's Pride? Or
it might have been Assassin's Pride, and it feels a lot more of the same thing. And with the show about assassins, you know, you could do a lot here. You could give me that, you know, give me more stealthy stuff, give me more just, I don't know, cool assassin-y things, but it just feels boring. And not only that is it boring, but it hits every isekai trope. So I don't know. And maybe this is me being jaded from seeing so many isekais. Could be that. I mean, Space Jam was like a pretty high bar, and then like, you know, all the other stuff after, you know, that copied it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Space Jam S tier isekai, 100%.
It is an S tier isekai. That's non-debatable. Okay, all right. Next show. Because we know that it's the greatest.
Did you watch any of these shows? Because otherwise, I will talk about Senpai. I watched Doga Kobo's Senpai. My Senpai is Annoying, and I loved episode 1. It is like very fluffy and cute, and it's so wholesome.
But that ending was awkward, dude. I'm like, oh no. But like, it was obviously good writing, right? And good setup. Yeah. But I'm just like,
it's awkward in such a funny way.
yeah. I kind of like, I winced a little bit. I'm like, oh girl, no, no, girl, no, not like this.
The first thing I thought of when that happened at the end of the episode, I was like, oh man, HR is gonna have a fit over this.
It also didn't help that after she said what she said, that, you know, Senpai Takeda didn't give a response. It didn't show anything, right? Yeah, so it's a cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, don't do this to me. Come on. Don't do this to me. But it was, outside of that, like, it was a it was a very feel-good show. It was very cute. It's got the romance that I like. It's got the slice of life that I like. So I'm definitely digging this show. The show is sweet. I think slice of life, this is the season, right? We've got Slice of Horror. We've got this. We've got a few others.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, like, because I think Doga Kobo, I always look to them for the slice of life of the season, and they've been hit or miss. But this one feels like a hit to me so far. Episode 1 was just filled with, I don't know. It's just he's like, I love the characters a lot. Like, I like how the big guy, even though I think the trope with like a really big guy in anime is that they're just totally oblivious all the time.
Loud.
And they just stumble. Yeah, they're loud. They stumble into things. They're clumsy. But in this case, he like is very much thoughtful and is always looking out for our main girl here. And so I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a different take. And I liked the main girl too. And I don't know. Their interactions are just very wholesome. And I really appreciate it.
Office Space. But romance.
But romance. Also, their coworkers are hilarious. I love the guy who seems like he's up to no good.
I like,
took the photo. And,
yep.
It's. So
the editor is also just like oddly sweet, but like, you know, kind of condescending at some points. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah, like, no, all around just feel good show. I don't think we could explain it anymore, right? It's just office life, everyday office life with a romance.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like good slice of life, you know, nothing that happens is like groundbreaking. It's not like they're saving the universe or anything, but it's just seeing their sort of daily interactions it feels good. So, big fan of the show. Next show I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
You might have heard of this. I don't know. It's a new one. It's going to probably pick up this season. Demon Slayer.
You know, I've got a good feeling for this show for Ufotable. You know what I mean? Like,
it might take off.
it could do well. I mean, this next arc, I think.
It tests real well with prime ministers. Apparently, so
yeah, apparently. No, Demon Slayer. We got the prequel episode, and I watched it recently. I watched it today actually, and the entire time I'm just like, no.
I've got
somebody who watched the movie.
I've got my sunglasses on for this exact moment, dude, because I was definitely crying. Like, I was like, no, Rengoku, no, dude, no, not. Okay.
I don't want to spoil the movie, but I just like, I love Rengoku so much as a character. And let's just say he goes through a hard time and he's just the best. He actually just the best. He's like best boy of the season, even though he's only got one episode so far. He is just so kind-hearted and ridiculous and awesome. And episode 1 shows every reason why you would love this character.
Also, like the way the episode, like, so this, I didn't, you know, we kind of like bagged on it a little bit, right? Like, oh, you know, first 7 episodes, I've already seen the movie, you know, like, yada, 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 right? I don't need to see this. But so far, this first episode has done a very good job at making me, you know what? I do want to watch all 7 episodes now.
Yeah. Dude, I said the same thing. I watched the episode and I got done and I was like, oh, I should watch the movie. That's like the first thought. Like I was like, wait a second. I'm not gonna be able to not watch Demon Slayer for the next 6 weeks. You know, like I'm gonna watch it. I'm just gonna grumble and then also cry. I don't know what you want from me.
I hate that I'm giving you my time right now, but I'm gonna give this to you because it's great. Like no, like it feel like this intro episode even added more depth. It made me feel the movie more.
Yeah.
So now I am more than happy to relive Mugen Train again.
Dude, I think Ufotable literally just like 5-headed us so hard. You know, like, oh, here's the movie, idiots. Yeah, you're gonna love this movie, idiots. And you're like, yes, I will enjoy this movie. And then you're like, and then they're like, yeah, the first 7 episodes, by the way, it's gonna be the same thing again. Yeah, you're gonna like that. And you're like, no, I don't want to like that. Well, here's the prequel episode, and we watch it. We're like, oh, you're right. It's so good. You're right. That's right. You little bakas. You'll watch our show and you'll like it. And we're like, yes, we are your bakas.
Thank you. Ooh, ooh. Like no, like they nailed it, and the way this episode ends, dude, right here. Oh man, right here. If you haven't seen the movie, like, you know, watch these 7 episodes, but just this episode alone, not even just knowing what the movie is about. Obviously there is some sentimental attachment to it because if you've seen the movie, but not even knowing the movie, I think this episode is great, right? Like you really get a dive into who Rengoku is because you didn't get to see that at all from first season, right? You just saw that he's here, he's a sheriff, right? But you get to see what kind of character he is, the principles he has, and you know that scene when the bento, oh god, it's so good,
dude. I actually think that before you watch this episode, you should watch the movie. I actually think this episode might not have hit as hard if you hadn't watched the movie yet. So the movie's out, like basically
it's
everywhere that you would watch. Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. It's on Funimation. You have no excuse at this point, because like if you're gonna watch the season, go watch the movie and then watch the episodes that follow along because we're Ufotable's little bakas and we can't help it. Yeah,
I will never doubt them again. Yes, no, I would love to see you redo the same thing again. No, I would love that. Thank you. May I have another?
Thank you.
Sir?
We appreciate it. I'll have more servings. Yes. No, this episode is great, and I.
But yeah, so dude, don't like. There's that scene when he gets on. He's like, "I'll see you soon." I'm just, I love you, Rengoku. I love you so much. Okay, rather than having 2 30-year-old men cry, let's move on to the next thing and a more uplifting spirits, I guess. You know. Okay, let me collect myself. I mean, as a house husband, I can't show emotion.
Is that a house husband?
I don't know, man. Just play with it, dude. Just play along, man. Okay. So I don't know what the title is, but Irina, Moon Cosmonaut is what it's showing up as in on Funimation, but on here it's Suki to Laika to Nosferatu. Whatever
Vampires
it is. Vampires in space. You know, I talked about this. I'm like, usually it gets really weird. It hasn't gotten weird. This is actually really charming. It's a very sweet show because the vampire is made to feel like a test subject. No different. There's 2 episodes out. No different than like just like sending a pet snail or a pet into space, right? To test the rockets out. Because remember, this is taking place in like 1960. All right. And so this is a very, very interesting take on the world of vampires and what they're doing some cool things here. And there are people that are just obviously not excited about this Nosferatu project that they're launching. But they the person that's specifically now going to be, training this vampire as she gets ready to go into space. You can tell there's already a cute connection. It's very cute. And I'm very sad that it's this cute because it can't go well all the way through. So I know I'm going to feel something for this show. But right now, at least for the first 2 episodes, what the show does best is that it breaks all the old stereotypes of what vampires are, what they eat, what they don't eat, things like that, and how just vampires work. And I love this. It's just a very good romance. I feel this spark between the 2 characters, and there's only 2 episodes. The outro song and the outro video, hella cute, dude. I can't handle it. It's too cute. And I've it's a cute vampire love story. I love it. I love it. I mean, I feel. That's it. I feel. I feel, and I love it. And it's so saddening to see the world around the vampire Irina reject her and treat her like this test subject. But the only person that isn't is Lev, and it's the person that's training her, and you can tell he's like, yeah, but she's just a test subject. Don't be weird. Don't make it weird. But you could tell there's things where it's like, I see you, dude. I see you. So if you're into romance, you love vampires, and you want to see them in space, so far, this is good. This is cute. Simple as that.
I'll have to give it a watch. Also, really quick too, I want to just say that the outro for Senpai is Annoying, also fantastic. Just because on the subject of outros, just because we talked about already. But yeah, I didn't know what to think about the show, and after you saying that the first 2 episodes are good, maybe I'll give it a try. I'll take a look. I'll take a look.
It's slow, but you're just watching her it's her training arc. You see them adapting to go their bodies to go into space. It's not etchy. It's not like adapting. Let's see how boobs work with gravity. It's like actually training to go into space, like what NASA would do before a launch. But cool. That doesn't rule out. I'm not now. The disclaimer: if there is, and I mean if there is a booby gravity episode, sorry, maybe, or not sorry.
Oh God. Okay. I wanted to mention this next show. I didn't watch it, but I don't know if we went over it in our overview. The Fruit of Evolution, Shinka no Mi.
We did not.
If you, I just want to say that the setup for this show is very funny. I have no idea if it's just going to be your typical Isekai harem, which it kind of looks like it's going to be. But the setup for the show is actually really, really funny. And if you watch the preview of it, you'll know what I mean. But basically, this guy gets it's dumb. In his normal life, he was kind of overweight and bullied and whatever. And he gets isekai and he's good looking. And then the main girl from his previous life turns into a gorilla, I guess, in this new world. And she is head over heels love with him. So I don't know. I heard that the setup is funny, but not watching it. Okay, on to the next show.
Somebody told me about this. I should probably watch it. But yeah, on to the next one.
I think you would like it because
Excuse me?
Love the. You love the H word, Hannibal
Lecter?
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter? Yeah, okay, maybe.
Hand-holding,
Hand-holding, yeah. I'm into that. I'm into that. What is that? Is that sauce?
Yeah, I'd like to have a hamburger with a side of hentai, please.
I love dipping my hot dogs and hamburgers into hentai.
Yeah. That's definitely what we're talking about.
Well, surely you would never lie to me, so...
Yeah. You go order that at In-N-Out.
I will.
I think that's on their secret menu.
I will. That is a secret menu item. You wouldn't. I mean, we'll try it. Maybe.
This next show I want to talk about, there's only one episode out so far. It's called Sakugan, and episode 1, absolute banger.
Yeah,
so a couple things that just stood out to me. Dude, the show is beautiful. The backgrounds are so detailed. The world that they've built out is just beautiful. And episode 1, you get like the story of the father and the daughter, and they're amazing characters.
Yeah.
Like, you've got this rambunctious girl who's a genius. Apparently, I didn't know if it was a joke or not, but they said she went through college. And she's like inventing devices and stuff. And she's just very, very smart. And then you have this dad who's sort of kind of overbearing, clearly has like a mysterious past a little bit, and trying to keep her safe. And let me just tell you, episode 1, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it didn't pull any punches.
Yeah, it just hits you.
Literally.
Like it hits.
Oh God! I laugh so I don't cry. I laugh so I don't cry. I'm sorry. I'm just repeating my mantra real quick. I laugh so I don't cry. Okay. Okay. But more on like just real quick on the like world building and the way it looks, dude. This looks like Trigger. This is everything Trigger Studio has done so far, but like somehow isn't Trigger Studio. And that is what catches me off guard. I'm like, how is this not? How is this not?
I wonder, it's possible though, because a lot of animators go across different
companies?
Studios depending on, and so like it's possible that like some of the people who work in this thing, maybe they have connections to Trigger, because like, dude, like the typeset for Sakugan's title looks exactly like Kill la Kill's.
Yeah,
like the character palette for the main girl
looks like
also very like Trigger like,
or Trigger like, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I it wouldn't surprise me. Let's put it that way. If we found out that like some of the animators from Trigger happen to work on this show.
And yeah, for those that don't know, like just a little more, and if we need to somehow sell this to you, it's humans have now moved underground, and like the little girl is trying to like go find this essentially this paradise, this promised land. And, that's why she wants to like leave, get out of here. Her dad is like not about it. And, so randomly it's not just humans on this world. Let's go with that. I'm not going to spoil too much. We're not alone. We're not alone. And they are fighting something. So if you're into that, like we had talked about it in the last episode. This has the family vibe, but not in the way I thought it would be. This is not family in like the uplifting Fantastic Four way. This is family like, yo, we are family bonded by tragedy.
It's something. I'll just say episode 1 really set it up well, and I this is one of the other shows that I think is like very up on my list of like I am so looking forward to more.
Yeah, same.
All right, moving on. We've got Kyuketsuki Sugushine, which is the vampire dies in no time. And this show is so stupid. I love it. It is so dumb. There's no other way for me to put it. It's just so dumb.
The easiest way I could put it is that think fart jokes, wiener jokes, 2 30-year-old men getting each other with these nuts jokes, and like, stuff like that.
Peak comedy.
Yeah, peak comedy. But with a vampire twist to it. And literally the vampire dies to everything. But he can respawn. And the way he dies, it's just, he always yells, sand. Sand. And I'm just like, and then the vampire hunter, or the hunter, if you will, is just like totally not what you expect. He's like this kind of like grimy, like, ooh, I'm kind of an a-hole, but don't expose me. Right? Like, and I kind of love it. The show has some of the dumbest humor. Like, a vampire has gotten loose and he controls plants. And I'm like, oh my God, I watch this and I'm just like, oh, okay. Okay, I see. Okay. I get it.
Yeah, the character reveal for how he controls the plants. It's just like, That's not what I was expecting. And the way he uses it to move really fast is also not what I expected. I think like the humor is very absurdist. It's just like so ridiculous that there's no way you would have thought that's how it was gonna happen. And like it's this one is so dumb and fun. Like the like animation is like, and like the art style is like, it feels very rudimentary. Like it's not like a gorgeous show. It's just,
it feels like 90s. It feels like 90s anime, early 2000s.
It just doesn't feel as like, you know, some of the newer shows nowadays is like very pristine looking and like very
polished.
clean and polished is a great word. And this show is rough around the edges, and I think it just adds to the vibe of kind of this like janky show with janky dumb humor. And I don't know, man. I'm in love with the show.
Yeah,
it's like the humor is very fast. It's not like too fast or anything. It's just it just comes at you like joke after joke after joke after joke. Sitcom, and like. Yeah, I don't know. It's very good.
It's essentially rapid firing a ton of jokes at you, and it's like, well, if that one wasn't funny, we're gonna hit you again with this one. We're just gonna keep going. We're like, and it for the most part, this show really works for me. But I think the one thing I would say to anyone that's listening right now is do not wait to watch this at the end of the season to watch all 12 episodes. This does not seem like a show that I could sit and watch all 12 episodes and binge. It feels like I would watch this like a lot like what's the children's show? I forgot. Not Urameshi. The children's show from last season.
Uramichi.
Right? Uramichi. Yeah. It's a show that I enjoy 1 to 2 episodes at a time. Like breathe, go watch something else, right? Like maybe watch Blue Period, watch 2 episodes of this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Watch Sakugan again, 2 episodes of this. So don't let this build up. But other than that, it's a very funny show and very enjoyable, but in dosages, like in moderated dosages.
Yep. And then the other show that I want to watch and I've heard good things about, although it might not be for everyone, is Heike Monogatari. I've heard good things about it. Sorry, it wasn't the Tesla show, which I know you really love.
Well, you already watched X-Arm, so you're already like there, right? So like you can project onto me, but you already watched X-Arm, so
I'm so desensitized to CG. Like when I'm so desensitized now. When I watch like terrible CG, I'm like, oh yes, reasonable.
Because you've seen what the worst could be. You're now okay with it. No, look. You like say what you will about my taste. You know, you can call it trash, you call it whatever, but I have never plagued my mind with X-Arm. So
it's not like I enjoyed it. I'm just saying I stood I'm like a Navy SEALs of anime, you know,
hardened by the worst.
I went through torture, like, you know, or is it KGB, you know, like all their agents like have to be tortured. Yeah. Like I'm, you know,
hardened.
There's nothing that can shake me. Yeah. I'm a hardened anime vet. I can stomach it all.
I've seen the worst. Go ahead, you can breathe.
Is X-Arm still isn't the worst anime of that season. Anyways, the Promised Neverland season.
That was the same season?
That was the same season.
I don't know, man. Promised Neverland wasn't X-Arm. Okay, you know what? Whatever. That's another.
You want to make a bet?
How do we even like? What are the metrics that we rule that on? Whatever. Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, so far that is, I think, our general first impressions. Have you watched any other shows? I don't want to cut you off.
No, I haven't seen anything else. I mean, we talked about Heike Monogatari a little bit, and Heike, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, or probably not. So, but the thing here is, I wanted to see that, but every time I get close to starting it, I watch something else.
It looks kind of heavy. It feels like a show that like I have to be ready for, because it doesn't seem like the easily digestible, like, here we go. I guess in some ways it's kind of like Sunny Boy, where like if you're just wanting to watch an anime for like good dumb funniness, Vampire Dies in No Time, that's your show. But like Heike Monogatari seems like a show that like you have to be ready to really like sit there and like absorb. And I don't know. It just feels a little like higher maintenance in a way than
you definitely have to be in a mood, right? Like it's not, like you're not just gonna throw this on. So, but yeah. Are you watching anything else from this season? Like
that's my thing.
For originals.
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, so there's a few.
Oh yeah, for originals.
There's still a few from like either that have kind of taken a break or are still kind of rolling over from last season. So Fena still amazing, still good. Dude, this climax episode, like Eden. I'm so excited.
Dude, if anything, I kind of wish there was more episodes.
Wait, like is that it?
I think it's just a 12 episode anime.
Right, but this is only 10. We still got 2 episodes.
We have 2 episodes. It feels a little fast, just a little. Sorry, I think I gave our house husband a heart attack.
Okay,
you can breathe. Yeah, there's more episodes. It feels like a lot of things are happening very quickly, but I'm so excited for the finale because everything so far has been fantastic, beautiful. The sort of I just adventure shows that make you feel like, oh my God, what is that? Like that sense of awe when you get to a new area in an MMO and you just like, you like breathe it all in. I mean, that's what Fena does amazingly. It's just like you cannot believe, and you're seeing it through the lens of like really lovable characters. Oh my God, I love the twins so much, and I love the gun girl.
She's great.
Hilarious.
She's great. Yeah.
So like I love these characters so much, and I love the little romance that's between Yukimaru
that little
and Fena.
Spark there, just like, stop, no,
it's so
stop.
funny and so cute, and so yeah, I don't know. This show's great, and 2 more episodes.
I can't wait to see these 2, man. This is, if you're not watching it by now, you will not have a problem catching up. This is truly, as Xell had mentioned, that feeling of adventure is just really well executed here. I feel like I'm in that crew, seeing these new cities. Visually, it's just beautiful in every way. Like, I didn't think they could do it to me like that, but they did, and I'm here for it. So, but yeah, so Fena's still good. Jahi-sama, if you liked episode 1, you liked episode 2, 3, it's a lot more of the same. It's just going to be the same thing. So if you can handle that, you're here for it, you'll like it. I'm enjoying seeing the cast and people that this slowly assembling around Jahi-sama. So still fun show. Not like a must watch, but solid C. Mm-hmm. All right, and then I think outside of that, if you couldn't tell, I actually I watched the new episodes of Way of the House Husband. Did you know that?
Thoughts? I mean, I couldn't tell.
Okay.
By your general demeanor and appearance.
Okay,
I didn't know you had watched it.
I did. And so what? I left off at episode 6, I think, on Netflix, and now we're up 10 episodes, so 4 more new episodes. Dude, these 4 episodes is some of the most hilarious stuff you could ask for. They literally are making boba, and it's one of the funniest episodes, and if not my favorite. Oh
my God, I need to catch up.
If they are making boba, and it is dumb. And it is so dumb, but it's so intense. The classic, Tatsu expressions and, lack of animation or whatever you want to call it. But the animation style they've gone with, you see a lot of it here, and it is hilarious. So I love it. You'll love it. If you enjoyed more, if you enjoyed the first half, you're going to find this part even funnier. These 4 episodes are just legit funnier than the last 6. And I dig this. I really dig these last 4 episodes. There's just so many things that are funny here. Between the 2, like Tatsu and this like serious old mobster dude are ordering at like this very bright pink cute cafe. It's like a magical girl cafe essentially. But they order with the most serious faces, and the camera angles that they get and the expressions that they get here are perfect. It just adds to the humor. Or when Tatsu does a rap battle, like that. What? And he raps about household appliances. Like, it's just perfect, dude. I love it, dude. It's so damn funny. Takoyaki, all these things. He raps it. You think of it, he's doing it. And he raps about meat stores. It's what I needed. It's a feel good. It's funny. It's dumb. And it's what you need. So you watch that. You watch the vampire dies instantly, and you're gonna be in a good mood all of fall.
Yeah.
So,
dude. So let's talk about fall as a whole. Like, what do you think, and what are some of your like top most anticipated shows?
So I think my sleeper pick, right? Like we'll go with like I'll break it down. I think the one that'll just be consistent and probably solid to the end currently is we're going to just not include Komi because that show has not come out yet, is going to probably be Takt Op Destiny. Like that is one that at least conceptually what it brings to the table, it's animation, it's everything that you want wrapped in a perfect package, right? It's killing in all categories. Music, yada, 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 it's all there. My favorite, I see probably peaking out, like probably being the one I'm going to love the most still at the end of the season, probably Mieruko-Chan. Because this is the type of show, it's nobody's surprise. It's the one I love. But I think Irina Cosmonaut is going to be my sleeper pick. And I am, a romancy kind of guy, so yeah, I'm down bad, whatever you could say. But I but
I think those are two different things. But
well, they could go hand in hand somehow. But you know what I mean? Like you could. I'm a sap, so I love what it's brought so far. But it's kind of tough because Sakugan and Cosmonaut are just amazing, and I feel like there's a lot of feeling and like emotions behind this show, and obviously Blue Period looks like it's gonna be another banger. So this season is very stacked. It's very good. And there's going to be tons of sleepers through this season. And it's not like these shows, like the ones that aren't mentioned aren't good. Obviously, you're still in the company of Demon Slayer, which has already shown that itself to be a serious haymaker for season 2. Everything that people had talked about that have read the manga, it gets better. That's coming to fruition. You're seeing that, right? And there's the dumb humor. So if you want something lighthearted, you've got the vampire dies instantly. You've got, House Husband. But then you've got the romances. You've got the slice of life, right? You've got there's just so many this season. It's hard to pick, honestly. But I think Takt Op Destiny is going to be currently my front runner for best of the season. I think the biggest letdown of the season, probably going to be Platinum End.
Okay.
I think Platinum End is going to be the biggest letdown of this season from the current the new shows, not the current continuing ones like Fena and all of that. So I think but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's really good. Maybe it gets better. But right now it's just looking pretty mediocre. So, and Blue Period could also potentially be another letdown because if it's not written well, it's going to be very boring and it's easy for you to fall asleep to.
Yeah, I think so far. So the thing was going into this season, there's just a lot of originals, right?
Right.
And originals, you never know what you're gonna get. But the thing is that a lot of these first episodes from these originals have been so good that it makes me really positive overall over the season. Last season, I was pretty disappointed just right off the bat, and it didn't seem like anything really. There weren't that many standout hits even from the originals,
Yeah.
But this time around, it was wow, a lot of these shows are surprisingly good. Besides the ones that were already hyped up, like Mieruko-Chan and I guess Komi-san, these are things that are adopted from really beloved mangas. I think the fact that Takt Op Destiny looks so good, Sakugan looks really good, and then you even have some sort of offbeat oddballs of Senpai's annoying, Vampire Dies in No Time. We're set up for a pretty dang good season.
Come on, dude.
And maybe I haven't watched it yet, but it could be good. And we haven't even seen Osama ranking, and we haven't seen again, Komi-san hasn't come out yet, and there's still Demon Slayer that's coming out too during this time. So we are in good hands this season. If last season, Weebs, I know it was a hard time for all of us, but I think this season. It was a long, hot summer, hot garbage summer. And I think we're finally going back into, just being inundated with good anime, and it seems that way. And I hope Takt Op Destiny, like these originals, Takt Op Destiny, Sakugan, and Osama Ranking, I hope that they, do the original anime thing justice. And then, of course, I think from things that are from like popular manga, like Platinum End, Mieruko-Chan, Demon Slayer, they will probably be what people say they are. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, and I think we're set up for like I said before.
Anime's back on the menu, everybody. Back
Let's
on the
go.
menu.
Back on that. You heard it from the house husband himself. And that is going to wrap up our general first impressions of the fall season of anime. Let us know if we, if we're just wrong on anything. Like, are we missing something here?
Like Tesla Note.
Like Tesla Note and whatever. Other than that, I'm really just looking forward to Komi-san and Osama Ranking. And actually, there's even some movie stuff that maybe at some point we'll cover too, that I'm excited about. And thanks for watching, guys. We of course appreciate all the comments. We love you guys. Thanks so much for supporting our little anime show here. So,
thanks for helping us prove we are the best anime podcast. Now we just got to
without question.
Yeah, just nobody can even dispute it. So continue to spread the word and just let everyone know why we are the best anime podcast. And if they tell you no, but have you checked out why XYZ? Tell them no, you're wrong. Okay, that's that. I respect your incorrect opinion.
Nii-San Podcast. That's where it's at.
Boom.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next episode next week. Have a good one, guys. Peace out. All right.